Well, I'm sorry.
All right, sorry.
What?
She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
No, you came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? And I was like,
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, I don't think you do.
Welcome back to Ran-DomU University. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please hit the button, hit the bell, do all those things that I'm normally talking about here on the channel. I mean, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Everything from AI sex dolls going live now, and not from Tesla, just from these other companies that decided that, hey, the movie Subservience wasn't enough. It's now time to go ahead and get active on that project. We also have to talk about DJ Fatademics. That is a lot to talk about as well, because boy, he's got a whole lot going on in his realm of the earth. So we're going to get to that at some point in time. But today in this video, we're going to talk about lessons in victimhood. And so we're going to talk about the racist Karen situation that's taken the internet by storm, which was, you know, this was a doozy. There was a lot of nuances to go on in here. And I mean, this is a disease, a true sickness, as Abba would say. That's what this whole thing is. It reeks of, I just want to be a victim. I don't know any other way to talk about it. This is it's a very cringy video, so this is also going to be a lesson in cringe studies. So definitely buckle up your seatbelt and get ready for this, because this can be quite triggering. Yeah, we're gonna have to dive into it because there's a lot here, a lot.
you live here?
Yeah.
You do? I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that. Rory, come on. Rory, come on. Help!
Now, that's just a clipped up quick version of what really took place out there during that event. She just let the whole stroller just roll down the steps and bounce and all, you know, it's just like, damn, really? I mean, I guess you have money like that, you're going to just afford to let the stroller take all that damage. But despite that, the screaming down, you know, the road in a mass panic when nobody's outside apparently besides you and your kids, which also, there's a lot to dissect here. Like, why are your kids out with you this late? I mean, despite the context of this situation, knowing that this actually was this guy's house that we're talking about in today's video, this was clearly his home. This wasn't where she is. She wasn't going to see a neighbor that she knows or has had dinners with or anything like that, or her kids were over there previous nights to have sleepovers, anything like that. She just decided that I'm going to pull up because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm suspicious of what's going on here at this house. Maybe you could have asked questions to the neighbors that already lived there and been like, hey, do you know anything about that family? But before I decide I'm going to step on the porch, clearly this woman does not live in a stand your ground state, because not just saying that people would just blast you off the porch here in Tennessee because you just exist there, but it is possible. If they felt scared and felt triggered enough, just like she felt scared, oh my God, oh my God, I was so worried because a car pulled up into their actual driveway. Why are you here? Oh my God, do you live here? What kind of question is that? Do you live here? Do you live here? Did you even knock on the door? You just pulled up and was like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm scared. I mean, my children, my life. I mean, what is that? Like, this gives all white women a bad name. All of it does. Because the sad thing is, like, I know all sorts of white women and none of them would ever do something like this. Like, first of all, I know them and they would be cringing, and that's why this is a lesson in cringe studies. They would be cringing at the fact that this took place in an absolute embarrassment. Just like when black people, like the worst of us, decide we're going to crash out and do some, you know, same type of victimhood, you know, Olympics here and just, you know, blame white people, racism and whatever, the patriarchy or whatever you want to blame for all your problems when it was clearly your fault. It's the same thing. We all feel the same level of cringe when it comes to our races because we all do the same BS. That's why here in this channel I always talk about there's both sides to everything. We all have the same types of people. There's just different populations of those people based on percentages and all that exists here, well, in the world. But in general, I just think like this is just bothersome from just the basic fact that you see this woman, and she also went and knocked on a neighbor's door, by the way, and we need to have that interaction now.
Lives here, so he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like, that's.
She got all worried that some.
Scared the crap out of me.
How?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
How did he scare you though?
I had a feel.
Such a great question. How did he scare you? Could you see those long ass dreadlocks in the dark in the probably a tinted window that he probably had on that vehicle? Could you really see that deep in there? Oh my God, I already know he's black. Oh my God, I'm scared. Jesus Christ, he looks like Predator in there. Is that what it is? You thought some alien sentient being just came from outer space and decided that he was going to play camouflage and jump in some vehicle and now he was going to zap and vaporize your ass, you and your children, right there on that porch that you didn't belong on? Is that what you feared of? Something completely random like that? I mean, if you have irrational fears like that, I mean, cool, but I don't understand why you are here still. And this poor guy, just like any, nice, kind neighbor in any circumstance, you got some crazy woman banging on your door saying, help, help, oh my God, my children. They're going to panic. They're going to freak out. They're going to be thinking, Jesus, something's going on out there. Maybe I should protect somebody. Masculine man would go out there and for whatever reason, which you should not be doing as much nowadays because people are crazy, is just, recklessly putting your life on the line. Now, obviously that wasn't the case here because there was a false alarm. There was nothing going on but racist bigotry taking place in this neighborhood. Now, this poor dude has to waste his time coming out in the middle of the night, probably damn near on only his drawers or whatever small shorts he had on out there and a t-shirt. And it was like, man, maybe I should check this out. He's been living next to these people for probably quite some time. And it's like, I don't even know what's up. Did something happen? Is somebody dead on the porch? Oh my God, the black activity actually took place. They made it. The ratchet got to the neighborhood and somebody shot and killed somebody. Jesus Christ. No, I don't even think he had that thought. He was just like, all right, let me go check this out. The thing is, what if this situation was crazy, right? What if there were people just wilding out and shooting everybody up out there? This guy was going to go out there and put himself in danger. Then she would have been responsible for the fact that him and others were harmed in the situation. Thus, you would face no repercussions for that because they were probably all dead.
I just seen her in the driveway and I was like, are you looking for somebody? Because I was pulling up out.
And I saw someone walking in our driveway too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
It just keeps coming back to why were you here in the first place? Why did you pull up? Especially you and your kids. This isn't a normal route on a walk. Normally when people are taking walks with their family, they stay on the strip. They stay on the street or on some path. Sometimes, maybe you go to the park or you go on some trail. You stay on the trail. If you see a random house over there, you don't just just pull over and start knocking on doors, do you? Is that normal? I don't think so. I walk my dog and I never once had the hunch to be like, you know what? Let me go knock on this guy's door and just see what's up. Don't know if they're home, don't know if they're racist, don't know if they're crazy, paranoid, schizophrenic, whatever. I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to risk it. I'm just going to put myself on the line. Once again, clearly she does not stay in a stand your ground state like that. Because know what? Then again, more context on this situation. This is one of the apparently safest neighborhoods that you can find in Ohio. So since it's safe, why are you worried altogether? All of a sudden, you just been having what? You've been looking into too many dark conspiracies out there on the web? One of those Facebook pages that has the local neighborhood community in it, did it get played or somebody throw some AI devil bullshit up in there and you all of a sudden got scared? Some anti-Semite, videos ended up in there and some anti-black videos end up in there and you're like, oh my God, we might actually be under attack. I need to go ahead and investigate. Next time I go out with my kids, I'm going to go knock on this random person's house and be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start running off screaming because I need to set them up. Just like what happened with AMP, that whole situation. This is what they worry about. This is why you have those random black people who will look at white people sideways, even though those white people are probably perfectly normal. Not like this chick right here, but they'll get the side eye from some blacks because guess what? We look at you and we see her. We see that chick and it's like, ugh. I know what you're all about and I haven't even spoken a word to you. No, now that's probably wrong because once again, you can have those preconceived notions and be completely incorrect about certain people. So don't jump to conclusions too early, but you have to understand this is why that happens. Because of bullshit like this, getting pulled over by the cops and they question why the hell you have a new car when it's like, I get paid. I have a job just like you, bruh. And you know what? Yes, I'm doing quite well. And I'm sorry that hurts your feelings. And since it does, I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep making this bread. Could you please let me go home safely back to my family, reproduce more children, You know, hey man, it's been a long day at the office and I want to go home and eat dinner and I want to, lay the pipe and go to bed and rest easy. But yet you're not letting me do that because you're on some racial bullshit right now. Because you're just on one, just like Karen. Now I got to get up out of my house and deal with this nonsense because you decided that you wanted to play some random prank that wasn't funny. Like that loser Mizzy that was over in the UK stealing dogs and shit like that. Yeah, this ain't funny. Stop this.
Well, I'm sorry.
All right, sorry.
What?
I don't.
She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
No, you came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here.
No, we don't have to understand your point of view because it doesn't make a lick of sense. So you got scared of some vehicle pulling up behind you. So you were going to go to this random person's house, knock on the door. What? Because you were scared for the life of you and your children. So you're going to knock on a random person's house to seek safety. So the person who was pulling up pulls into the driveway and you don't think they actually live there. Maybe that's why they were pulling up. Maybe that's why they were also slowing down. Besides also seeing the Christmas lights that was out there, because apparently this happened back in November. Maybe it's like, damn, you know what? We just effing forgot about Thanksgiving altogether, right? So you're already throwing up the Christmas lights. I mean, maybe that was intriguing to him. Would that not be for anybody else in the neighborhood, white or the one black? I guess not. I mean, just, intriguing thought.
And I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? I was like,
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, I don't think you do.
See, this is the part that's the most ridiculous. And the reason why black people go on and on about some of these points, going on forward in life, talking about how we have to always overdo it, how we have to overachieve, we have to over exaggerate, we have to overprove and explain ourselves that, hey, we are safe, we're not crazed out, we're not ready to attack you or stab you or start, eating your neck and shit like that. We're not just gonna like slap you across the head and rip your heart out of your chest like some savage cannibal. We're not like that. We're not all beasts and animals, just like not all y'all are beasts and animals. Even though there are plenty of sick psycho men out there that are living in the white community, just like those crazy white women that we see in this video here. Every race has them. Just like Trump's out there talking about, we're gonna lock up all the illegals. They're locking them up because guess what? I guess some of them are dangerous too. You know why? Because every community has dangerous people. But you're over here jumping to ridiculous, preconceived notions over here. Like, why do I have to prove that I live here? Oh my God. I mean, is that what I'm gonna have to do? Yeah, the next time somebody randomly knocks on my door, which God forbid that happens again, besides a Jehovah's Witness, I'm gonna be like, I live here, Jesus, yes, this is my home. Please don't get scared. Oh my God, I don't want you to lose it. I mean, listen, I know I'm black and you might be a little concerned. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna go out here dancing around like I got more zest in my pants than a freaking Greek salad. That's not what I'm going to be doing. Just to prove that I actually stay at the establishment that I pay for, just like she does. If this is a gated community, why do I need to explain myself? Once again, this is why you need to have Ring cameras. Thank God for Ring. This channel might be sponsored by Ring at some point in time because hopefully, hey, they'll see this. But other than that, this is why you need surveillance, because you have crazy situations like this. Then this thing went wild. Obviously, it got exaggerated, and it got to the point where obviously word got out in the community. Hell, everybody's right there. You can see the homes. They're all next to one another. Since they're all next to one another, people banded together because they posted that Ring footage on the little community page. Because guess what? Most communities have them, and that's a good reason to have Facebook. Now, Facebook is a weird platform at times now, just like all the other ones. But there are some really good services on there, like having pages like this where you can communicate crazy stuff like this to point out that, hey, our neighbor, she doesn't reflect the thoughts that we have. I've been living next to this brother for a long time. Hell, I just had a barbecue out with him just last week. And now I'm over here worried because this crazy white woman decided she's gonna bang on my door saying, oh my God, I need help, my children. And I'm over here thinking that maybe he lost his mind. Maybe I thought he was. Hell, we smoked a blunt together and I thought we were brothers. But I guess not. I guess he's actually wanting to just savagely beat and kill white people. Is that really what he's thinking? I guess so. But no, that's not what's taking place here. It's just sad because after that whole thing, went live on her community page, she came out and obviously gave a shitty apology.
Truly the awkward encounter of slowing up behind me, talking to us multiple times. It's late at night. I got my kids, my 2 babies. The lady at the door is not answering. There's no other homes that are well established. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on the front porch. This truck literally is halfway up the driveway. My radar was like, nope, I don't think that this is your house. And I freak. I go, Rory, run. So that night after that whole instance happened, I literally was sitting on the steps first of all, and John kept trying to talk to me. I kept telling him I was so sorry. Just the panic. I literally could not come down from this like fight or flight. From the time that I was at the woman's house to literally 30 seconds later telling the woman that I was just followed to the man stepping out on the front porch and it being his house. It was like all of these different emotions. And so I'm sitting at home literally like having this meltdown. I kept telling John I was so sorry. Like I felt really stupid. He told me that there had been a letter floating around our neighborhood that had been posted in our mailroom that had said something about a racist profiling in the neighborhood. And so of course you throw racism into the mix, it gets really yucky. And that was the furthest thing from what it was, to the point of literally we have a handwritten letter from the woman's house that I went to. I'm trying to get the Ring doorbell footage of me standing on the porch telling John when he asked, are you sure it wasn't a black man? And I said, I think it is a young white man.
Now, just like all these terrible YouTube apologies or all these ridiculous apologies out here on social media that usually feel that they're completely constructed by some type of, third party, social media crisis control hotline or some type of publisher or manager that, runs your shit. That's what it feels like it comes from, especially just like her. But you can't sell people on what they saw didn't happen. The Ring footage is out. Everybody saw it and nobody believes you. Even the other whites were like, whoo, that's a little bit too far. I think I gotta call BS on this. I watched the footage and look, I tried to have her side. As a fellow white person, they were like, oh my God, I was trying to ride with you, but this was just too much. This is just like black people who are out there trying to defend Lord Jamar and the fact that he's a complete idiot and he proved it on his flat earth theory and the fact that he's not even a good flat earther himself. Like that'd be like black people be like, no man, I gotta defend him. No, you don't. No, you don't. We don't have to defend stupidity. You can let him go off into the sea and just drown. Let him be off by himself. Put him in the hefty bag. I don't care. Just not literally, but I mean, dude, throw that away. We don't need people like that representing us, just like they don't need people like that representing them. And good for these people in this neighborhood for pointing this person out and being like, we don't want to have anything to do with this chick. Heck, they posted up something on the bulletin board. They posted up a sign that basically warned people about this chick, saying that she existed in the neighborhood. It was almost like she became the boogeyman. She became the Petasaurus that existed in their neighborhood. The one that they didn't have on the registration, but they knew existed there in the neighborhood. The white van that sat out there and nobody attended to most of the time. It just sat out there with blankets all over it. They knew that she was that type of person. Now, because some of you might actually be listening to this and not watching this, I'm going to actually read this out loud. Please bear with me. Feel free to speed up the video. But it does say, it has come to our attention that actions of a racist and judgmental nature occurred within our community in late November, and the Jenkins family on Maple were the victims of this prejudice. With Jenkins' approval, many families have come together to support them and want to make it absolutely clear that such behavior is neither welcome nor reflective of the values that this neighborhood stands for. Our community is one that prides itself on being inclusive, diverse, and welcoming to all individuals, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or background. We believe in creating an environment where everyone can live, work, and thrive without fear of judgment or prejudice, let alone police intervention for people merely driving in the neighborhood or pulling into their own driveways. Jesus Christ. These recent actions of racial profiling are not representative of the spirit of our neighborhood and will not be tolerated. So that white Karen, she can kick rocks. If you are a person of any creed, color, religion, or identity, know that you are safe here. We stand united in fostering a place of mutual respect, understanding, and support of one another. Discriminatory behavior has no place in our community, and we are committed to holding each other accountable for maintaining a respectful and inclusive environment. We ask that we all work together to ensure that this neighborhood remains a welcoming, safe, and supportive place for everyone. Thank you for your attention and cooperation. Sincerely, concerned neighbors and stakeholders. Damn, that's almost enough to shed you a tear. Once again, that's people banding together for the right causes. People standing up against BS. And this is why I say it's not good to be racist, because not everybody is bad people. There are good people everywhere. This just comes down to like personal abilities to read the room, dissect individuals, really pay attention. Like when people say they're people watching, what are you really watching? Are you watching behaviors? Are you watching their actions? Are you listening to what they say? Now, personally, I'm not one who can say that he's not nosy, because I am pretty nosy. Though I'm a person who's nosy in the aspect that I just like to accumulate information. I don't like to, tell people about it. And for whatever reason, a lot of people just seem to come up to me and give me information. So I hoard it. I keep it to myself. I keep it as potential dirt down the road, just in case somebody wants to smuggle up some stuff and try to do something nasty to me. Pause. Or, you know what I'm saying? Just really try to throw me under the bus and get me into some BS. Though luckily, I haven't really had to deal with any of that. But just in case, I had the ammo and the ammunition to take care of those people if they decided to try my ass. And they didn't. But the point being is, if you are nosy, do it in the right way. Don't be somebody who's always in somebody else's shit. Just accumulate information. What I would decide to do is just hold on to this stuff so I know how to act around the people around me. This is how you can get by at work, by having conversations with folks that you can have with some people and you can't have with others. You know how you can do that? Because you know the people you're talking to before you actually talk to them. You observe them. You watch them. You get to know them from a distance, the best you can. So that way you can have some discernment on what you can actually do and say and how you can be yourself around those individuals. Now, yeah, it's nice for you to be able to just be yourself at all times, but we all know not every setting is appropriate for that. Sometimes you do have to just blend in, be one of them. And it's okay for temporary settings and sometimes just to get by, and sometimes it's to get something else in the end goal. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's to benefit you. So you should do those things. So like if you're at a conference and people are thinking, oh my God, this brother's acting awfully white. No, he's not. He's just trying to get along with the people that he's sitting around in those environments because that's how they communicate. It's not because he talks white. He just knows how to communicate with certain people because it knows how to resonate. It is being somewhat of a chameleon, but you don't have to be a chameleon like Drake, where it comes off as somewhat phony. We're like, ooh, you're really just changing your tune around certain people. Like people had criticisms for Kamala Harris saying, oh, you're just changing your tune around certain people, but you act different around others. Sometimes, yeah, it is kind of like being a politician to an extent, but that is how some people get by. But it's not being a phony. People who prove they're phony are people who stab you in the back. Those are people that are phony. They're snakes, people you can't be trusted. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Sheep, can't say it. You know what I'm trying to say. Wolves in sheep's clothing. That kind of thing. That's the type of stuff that you need to avoid. And that's what this lesson is today in this video. But I got a few more clips that came from Club Shay Shay because this family actually got to speak out on this matter and got to share their point of view on what happened, which we all kind of already know.
Hey, are you looking for somebody? She doesn't answer. She then proceeds to go to the porch. So I'm like, okay, so she's probably coming over. So I pull in the driveway. I'm about to park and she rings the doorbell and comes to the front of the front porch and stops me and says, do you live here? And I said, yeah, I live here. She said, well, I don't think so. I said, well, what are you doing here? She says, I don't think you live here. Hops off the porch, starts running, and I hear screaming, yelling for help. At that point, I'm in fear because I know what we face as black men in America. So I rush to the garage, park in the garage, come in the house.
But in November, the video just recently got released. What caused you guys to release? Because I'm glad this is on ring camera. Because you're absolutely right. Had this not been captured on camera, on video, you already know the story that was going to be told and how it was going to be spun. You guys had it on camera.
Well, I actually released the video in our community Facebook group. We have a community Facebook group, about 500 or so people. And ever since, we've been shattered. We've been upset. There's so many different factors and so many different feelings. I put the video in our community Facebook group to share what happened. And it took a lot for me to do that. And then we woke up and the videos everywhere. We're one of black families in the neighborhood.
When someone tells you they're standing on your porch, that's not their property, and they tell you that this is not your property, what went through your mind when someone is standing on your porch and they say, well, you don't live here?
Learn how to put pride and ego to the side and control your emotions. Because in my mind, I said the audacity, but I had to control my emotions because I knew where it could have escalated at. I'm thinking, well, what if she had a gun? Would she have been running or would I have been running?
Now, personally, that last statement felt like it was a little extra, but hey, who am I? I just feel like that was a little bit much to say, like, hey, what if she had a gun on her? Like, okay, I mean, I don't know why she would be carrying a gun around with all those kids, in the neighborhood. I guess maybe if she was really about that life, about protecting her kids, maybe. But it just seems like a little bit of a stretch. But the rest of it, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's right about. Somebody else being at your front door, accusing you of not living there would infuriate you to the point you would want to choke them completely out. You would want to see them turn blue, turn purple, eyes roll to the back of their head. You would want to see the life leave their body. You would want to see the ghost and the soul start reaching back, being like, no, no. And yet you are still strangling them, because that's how much of a rage it would put anybody in. And people know that. Karens know that. So what do? They try to trigger the police. They try to play and prey on people's emotions and their psychological, warfare that they take place on these individuals by just trying to trick them into thinking that something's happening that isn't actually happening. You pit people against each other by just involving them to see each other all the time when they really don't want to, out of a situation that shouldn't even be confrontational. You just keep calling out the police just so that way they get irritated with seeing the black folks being like, man, it is y'all the reason why we keep wasting our time while we're coming out here. And one of those days when those people will wake up and angry, they get up on the wrong side of the bed and they get up triggered literally to the point where their fingers staying on the trigger, ready to blast somebody for reasons we don't understand. That's possible. And that's what almost happened in this situation here, or it could have happened in this situation here. And the people of that neighborhood don't stand for it. And kudos to them. Round of applause for those individuals, because that's not everywhere. There's plenty of communities that would have been like, no, we need to pretend, we need to band behind this woman. We need to band together. We need to stick up for her because she's one of us, one of our own. Nope. Just like the racial draft, they decided to release this bitch immediately. And said, nope, you are no longer on this team. Your key fob doesn't work. You don't get a jersey. You don't have access to the facility anymore. That's a wrap. Lights, camera, action. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Now, for those of y'all who don't mind story time, please bear with me on this one, because I have another little short and relatable story towards what happened in this video today, which goes to the fact that I know some friends, right? They work at an establishment where they park cars. They valet. And they obviously work for tips. They don't usually get a whole lot of money outside of those tips. And they have their certain policies and procedures, just like any company, business, any of those. Well, theirs is the fact that you need a key to park. And for them to properly valet you, they need your key to do that. Because a lot of vehicles nowadays, especially if you drive like a Tesla or anything that's modern like that, where you don't need your key to start it, you can start it from your phone. Well, it's easy to screw over these companies and get away with not paying for parking. So they weren't trying to allow that. So they questioned this woman on, hey, can you go ahead and pay for this up front since you don't have your key? And the fact that they asked her that, she felt profiled. She felt like she was being discriminated against, called out because of the color of her skin, which was absolutely ridiculous and cap, because I know these individuals. This not individual business, but this company is ran and operated. Their manager is a young black kid. And this person who was upset was obviously black. And so they thought that the white kid and the Samoan kid, and they also have Asian kids, Indian kids, and they have other black kids and white kids. I mean, this is a very diverse group, except for the fact that they don't have women in their demographic. I mean, they don't have this, they have some slight sex discrimination, but that's not intentional. They just don't get them to apply. But anyway, I mean, my experience personally with some of the female valet drivers in the past weren't great. It's not shaming on them or saying that women cannot drive. I mean, y'all have Danica Patrick. She was all right, even though she never won. But either way, I'm just saying she proved that she could do it on that level. There are other women drivers that can do it. But just saying my experience was not so good. And anyway, I am deterring from the point of this story. The point of this story was the fact that this woman felt like she was profiled against. And she went full Karen mode and decided that she was going to label a bunch of individuals a way that they aren't actually in person. They felt really offended by the fact that she profiled them. And they should have, because this questions their character. This says all of a sudden that they need to be canceled immediately. And I felt bad for the white kids because I know them. I talked to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know these individuals. I've seen them in the past and I got along with them. They're great people. Like my boy Isaac here, he was pissed. He was hurt, and he should have been, because it didn't make any sense. Like, when you know internally you're not like what people try to label you like, it is going to infuriate you to the point of what I was just talking about when it came to choking the life out of somebody. It makes you want to get angry. It makes you want to shoot up the club. It makes you just want to go ahead and pop the trunk. It makes you want to do things that you normally in your mind would never think about doing psychologically, but it takes you to that place because somebody really is lying on your name. And who really likes to be lied on? I don't think anybody. It's just like when people in the past used to get called gay and they used to get angry. Now that felt a little bit different because nowadays you realize that's just silly, because like if you're not, you're not. But you do understand why it triggers people. Like if somebody says that you're slow or you're special ed and you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you might not be the sharpest pencil in the box, but you're not that level. So it would offend you. You know what I'm saying? Just any basic BS. People call you out on whatever, it will offend you. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. And I'm saying profiling, labeling people, trying to play victimhood Olympics, just like that woman that was trying to do in my story, happened in this video that we watched today. It happens in all races, shapes, forms, religions. It doesn't matter. It's a disease that everybody has somewhere deep down. Not all people, but all colors. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I just wanted to share that because that happened. And I was really frustrated for those individuals because it didn't make any sense. Just like this video today. Doesn't make sense.
That does not make sense.